Hi, my name is Jason.
And I'm Kaylynn.
Welcome to Season 2 of What's Your Problem? We're happy to be back and so pleased with your kind words and positive feedback about our show. Season 1 was only the beginning. This season promises to bring even more thoughtful discussion about current issues in distance learning and education, as well as feature thoughts and advice from students and instructors alike. So, without further ado, Adam, what's our problem?
Thanks, Jason. Today we're tackling a really common complaint. My students don't read. I mean, how many times have you had to ask a confused student, did you read the directions? Did you read the chapter? Did you see the announcement? When we've taken such great care to provide students with all of the information they need to be successful, it can be frustrating when they seem not to take advantage of it. And while it's easy to chalk this problem up to pure student laziness, it can actually be a much more complicated issue than that. In fact, there are several factors that influence whether or not a student will read and comprehend the material presented in your course. Fortunately, we have some simple tips to help you identify and combat these factors, ultimately reducing student confusion and your own frustration. So, Jason and Kaylynn, why won't my students read?
Thanks, Adam. A long reading that may or may not directly relate to the learning objectives at hand is one of the easiest ways to lose students' interest in the course content. The first solution we have is to keep the basics in mind. When you find your students are failing comprehension checkpoints or asking questions that can easily be answered in the readings, it's time for you to take the chunking strategy and pair it with meaningful reading selections. As a reminder, chunking can be applied to a reading by breaking up the large amount of text into smaller parts. According to George A. Miller, who founded the concept in 1956, students can hold 7 plus or minus 2 chunks of information at one time before their short-term memory is full. When their short-term memory bank is full, they will have trouble concentrating, applying, and learning any new information. Thus, chunking readings and having students only focus on the bits of content they need to master their learning objectives is key. If 1 week consists of having students read 2 articles on different topics, plus a full chapter in the text, precede the article readings with an introduction that lets students know which learning objective this is helping them achieve and how they will apply it later in the week. This will also help them focus on specific aspects of the articles. Regarding the chapter reading, break it down into several sections of reading throughout the week instead of one big chunk. This will help reading seem less intimidating and more valuable to students. Once the readings are curated to be targeted and meaningful, students will be more engaged with the weekly readings because they find high value and deep meaning within them.
That's right, Kaylynn. Curating and selecting the most meaningful selections is a great way to boost student engagement with reading. But what if students don't even bother to get the book in the first place? Our second solution for students not reading assigned material has to do with open educational resources, or OERs. Some students are not turned off by long reading assignments. They're turned off by purchasing expensive textbooks. One solution for this problem would be to use an OER in your course. Imagine if you knew for 100% certain that every student had the required textbook on day 1 of the class. That's precisely what it would be like with an OER. OERs are completely online, free to use, and in many cases free to modify texts, available to anyone to use. OERs are growing in abundance and are becoming very popular as a way to slightly reduce the financial strain of higher education without having to sacrifice anything academically. Imagine if Ron and Harry from the incomparable Harry Potter series didn't have to show up to 6-year potions class without a book. Dumbledore would probably still be alive. It's a matter of life and death. Now, using OERs do sometimes require some extra prep work from the instructor to implement, and not every discipline is as well suited for one. However, ensuring that every student has the reading material from day 1 will change the game when it comes to students reading assigned material. According to a higher education journal, 9 out of 10 studies on OER showed that the use of OER was connected with higher learning outcomes. And if an OER textbook is not for you, there are plenty of other quality resources that the school already provides students access to, including video sites, journal archives, and numerous library resources. For a list of available open educational resources, visit the Training and Development tab in the Distance Learning Organization page or the Schoolcraft Library Live Guide site.
Besides chunking and utilizing OERs, our last solution to this problem is to differentiate your instruction. Supplement your readings with other media to increase student engagement. Other types of activities and exercises include videos, games, image analyzations, and graphic representations. The only caveat to adding other media is making sure it is accessible to all students, such as including closed captions, making sure it's non-flash based, and writing up alternative descriptions for images. These are great tools to utilize in between readings to reinforce a concept. Whether your readings are advanced, complicated, easy, or short, supplemental instructional items will help students learn the information in a different way. possibly a better way for their personal learning style. Studies have shown that students will only engage with a reading for between 5 and 8 minutes before they become distracted from their purpose. By breaking up a longer reading with a video or a game, students will stay engaged and focused on the concept instead of drifting off into cyberspace.
So as a quick recap, we can't force our students to read. We can, however, purposefully select and present material in ways that increase the likelihood of students engaging with the reading. The first solution we offered was to break the reading material into smaller, more focused selections, making the reading more manageable for students while also improving their ability to comprehend key concepts. Secondly, providing resources that are free to students eliminates the major barrier of cost and ensures that students will actually have access to the necessary materials from the beginning. And finally, including other forms of media such as videos, educational games, and images will reinforce the assigned readings and break up the text, making students more likely to progress all the way through the material.
What's Your Problem wants to hear from you. If you have an idea you'd like us to discuss in a future episode, or if you just want to drop us a line, send us an email or follow us on Twitter.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
What's your problem? What's your problem? I don't get what your problem is.
Welcome to Schoolcraft. Welcome to college.